Was the Champions League a one-hit wonder for Spurs, or can they make it back there again?
I think the answer to that depends on two factors in particular. One, can they address the major failing that they suffered from last season, and that was an inability to score goals on a regular basis. None of their four strikers currently on their books contributed much last year, certainly in terms of goals. Peter Crouch, his main role, the reason he tended to be in the team ahead of Pavlyuchenko was because he nodded down to Van der Vaart a lot. But that's not enough, you would suggest, to become a Champions League team again. So they have to get in at least one top-class striker. The other question that they need to address is Luka Modric. Will he still be at the club? We don't know. We have to wait and see. But it's vital for their interest that they keep him, because he is their best player. He's their most influential player. Van der Vaart got a lot of the headlines last year, but he's a curious kind of player. He's a bit like Andrei Arshavin at Arsenal. He can, for 2 minutes, he can be brilliant and do exceptional things, and then for the other 88 minutes, he's barely involved in the game. Luka Modric, by contrast, is forever involved in the game, and he's continually probing and making things happen for the team. And out wide, of course, the supply from Bale and Aaron Lennon is very good. Aaron Lennon made a lot of progress last season when he wasn't injured, but he has addressed the failing that he was accused of suffering from before, and his final delivery is much more consistently good now. And defensively, they're pretty solid. They have backup for Gomez, which they needed in goals, because he made a lot of costly mistakes at crucial times last season. So Brad Friedel coming in, I'm not sure which one will start this season, but it's proper competition there. And with Cudicini back to fitness, they've possibly got the best trio of goalkeepers in the Premier League. Although I do say that off the top of my head. In
a way, the Modric situation really comes up when you have a team that falls out of the Champions League, because every player nowadays, it's the way it is, wants to be playing Champions League football every year if they believe that they're at that level. So by falling out of it, they've got this problem that they probably wouldn't have had, because I don't suppose he would have been agitating so much for a move if Tottenham had managed to stay in the top four again. But the upshot is that, at least for Tottenham, he seems to be the only one at the moment, which is a good sign.
Yeah, that's true. Gareth Bale would be the other one who would probably attract a lot of attention from Champions League clubs, given that his best performances last season came in the Champions League, and it was largely on the basis of a few excellent performances and that he got his Player of the Year award. But for the time being, he seems happy enough to stay at White Hart Lane, as do the other players, a lot of whom, like Lennon, like Benoit Suakoto, improved as players by dint of playing in the Champions League, you felt. So it is important for them to get back in, but unless they get strikers, it's impossible to see it happening.
In terms of getting back into the Champions League as their goal, it's probably going to be even a harder task for them now, what with Liverpool and Man City becoming much more viable, and that top four becoming more of a top 6 or 7. And of course, Tottenham's problem, when you're looking at particularly competing with the likes of Man City and some of the other major contenders, is that they have the White Hart Lane problem. And obviously they put so much effort into trying to get the Olympic Stadium. They know that the longer they're at White Hart Lane in its existing capacity, that they just can't really go that extra mile yet.